we're about to dig into a story that has totally shaken up the Middle East. I mean, think about it. Arch enemies suddenly becoming protectors? It all comes down to some seriously advanced tech and a secret deal made when everything was on the line. This is wild.
So let's just state the obvious, right? For decades, the idea of Israeli soldiers defending an Arab nation was just unthinkable. It wasn't even in the realm of possibility. And yet, here we are. So the big question is, how on earth did we get from that level of hostility to a full-blown military alliance that has everybody just scratching their heads?
Okay, so the core of this whole thing, the central fact that everything else revolves around is this. Israel's military is right now defending the skies over the United Arab Emirates. And let's be super clear, we're not talking about some backroom agreement or selling them some equipment. No, this is an active, boots-on-the-ground mission. It's happening.
All right, so let's unpack this. How did this unthinkable alliance actually happen? Because this isn't just some minor policy change. No, this is a massive, seismic shift in military cooperation. It's literally redrawing the lines of power across the entire Gulf region.
And the key to this whole deal, the piece of the puzzle that makes it all work, is this incredible piece of tech, the Iron Dome. Now, if you're not familiar with it, just know this. It's basically Israel's crown jewel of defense. It's this mobile, all-weather system that literally snatches incoming rockets right out of the sky. It's become legendary for protecting Israeli cities. It's the kind of tech everyone wants, but almost no one can get.
And that right there is what makes this whole situation so historic. You have to understand, until this moment, the Iron Dome had only ever been used in two places on Earth, Israel and with its closest ally, the United States. That's it. So to see it suddenly pop up, active, in the UAE, that's not just some tech deal. It's a massive political signal that the rules of the game have completely changed.
Okay, so this brings us to the million-dollar question, right? Why? What could possibly be happening that would push the UAE to make that phone call to Israel, of all places? What kind of emergency forces your hand like that? Well, the answer is pretty simple and pretty terrifying. They were getting hit with an attack unlike anything they had ever seen before.
And this all happens so fast, it's dizzying. A new war breaks out at the end of February 2026, and boom, the UAE immediately becomes a primary target. We're talking a matter of weeks. Just a few weeks later, things are so bad that the emergency call is made. And by the end of that same month, March, you've got Israeli tech and troops actively defending the UAE. It's just an incredibly compressed timeline.
Now, to really grasp why they were so desperate, you have to look at the numbers, and they are just staggering. This wasn't a few stray rockets. We're talking 550 advanced ballistic and cruise missiles coming from Tehran. Every single one of those is a major threat. This was a sophisticated, overwhelming, high-tech assault meant to completely shatter their defenses.
If you think that's bad, it gets worse. On top of all those missiles, they were also dealing with a swarm, literally a swarm of over 2,200 drones. And these weren't just flying around randomly. No, they were targeting the heart of the country, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, trying to cause as much chaos and panic as possible. Just try to picture that. The sky is just filled with things trying to hit you.
And this quote from the UAE's Ministry of Defense, man, it says it all. They basically said, listen, our country has been hit by more attacks than even Israel has faced in this entire region. Just let that sink in. They felt they were under a more intense bombardment than Israel, a country that's always on high alert. When you understand that, their decision to call for help, no matter who from, starts to make a lot of sense.
So they were completely cornered. This massive assault was overwhelming their own defenses. And that's when the UAE's leadership did something that, just a few years ago, nobody would have believed was possible.
So here's how the deal actually went down. It kicked off with an emergency phone call, right from the top, the UAE's president to Israel's prime minister. And the response from Israel? It was immediate. Netanyahu gave the order to dispatch the Iron Dome batteries. And not just the hardware. They sent dozens of their own soldiers to operate it. And bam, just a few days later, the system is up and running, already knocking Iranian missiles out of the sky over Abu Dhabi.
Let's just pause and absorb the reality of that for a second. We're talking about active-duty Israeli soldiers on Arab soil with the mission of defending that Arab nation. Politically, that is an incredibly delicate, sensitive situation. But for the UAE, it was a simple calculation. This was about survival. And when it comes to survival, politics takes a backseat.
Okay, so a move this big is obviously going to have some major ripple effects. And this secret alliance, well, it's sending shockwaves all over the place. We're seeing consequences way beyond the battlefield. impacting everything from the global economy to the political debates happening inside both Israel and the UAE. Economically, the impact was instant. Iran's move was to shut down the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, that's one of the most critical choke points for global oil transport. So naturally, a global energy crisis kicks off. But here's the twist. That move is actually pushing other Gulf countries to think, hey, maybe we need a defense shield with Israel too. Kind of the opposite of what Iran probably intended. But this deal isn't exactly getting a standing ovation back home. On either side. In Israel, you've got a lot of angry citizens asking, wait, why are we sending our best defense system abroad when we live under constant threat? And in the UAE, you can imagine, having foreign troops, especially Israeli troops, on your soil is, well, it's a very touchy subject. It has to be managed really carefully. And here's the part that has so many international experts just baffled. Think about it. Ukraine has been begging for the Iron Dome since its war started. And the answer from Israel was always a firm no, citing security reasons. But when the UAE called, the request was approved and deployed almost overnight. What does that tell you? It's a crystal clear example of the power of the Abraham Accords, these new agreements that are completely changing who works with who in the Middle East.
So, as we start to wrap this up, it's really important to zoom out. We can't just look at this as one regional conflict. We have to see it for what it might be, a sneak peek into the future of warfare itself. We could be witnessing the birth of a whole new kind of global struggle.
Because this isn't a conflict about soldiers and trenches anymore. This is a battle of technology. It's about whose defense system is better, whose satellite network is stronger, whose drones are smarter. In this new kind of war, the winner isn't necessarily the one with the biggest army. It's the one with the best tech.
And that leaves us with one last big question to think about. As we see these new alliances forming, not around old political ideologies, but around shared technology and common high-tech enemies, are we basically entering a new kind of Cold War? A tech-based Cold War? This absolutely wild, unthinkable partnership between Israel and the UAE? Well, it strongly suggests the answer might just be yes.